Imagine a deep, ancient forest held in the iron grip of midwinter. To the casual observer, the world is dead. The trees are skeletal, the ground is frozen solid, and there is an absolute, heavy silence that feels like the end of all things. In our modern world, we would look at this forest and see a lack of progress. We would see a stall in the system. But beneath the frost, a profound structural renovation is taking place. The roots are not sleeping. They are deepening. They are anchor points for the explosion of life that is already written into their DNA. This is the mystery of the divine path. We often mistake a season of waiting for a season of failure, yet in the economy of the Creator, the wait is where the momentum is gathered. As it is written in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." You may feel like the world is passing you by, that your peers are miles ahead in the race of status and noise, but you are about to discover that waiting is the highest form of spiritual velocity. Chapter 1. The Anointing in the Silence. Long before he stood over the fallen giant or wore the heavy gold of a crown, David was a shadow in the wilderness. He had been pulled from the back of the flock and anointed by the prophet Samuel in a moment of sudden, blinding glory. The oil was wet on his forehead, a physical sign of a royal future. Yet, the moment the prophet left, the glory seemed to vanish. David was not sent to a palace, he was sent back to the sheep. He was sent into years of silence, followed by years of running for his life in the jagged rocks of the Judean desert. In the caves of En-Gedi, David was learning the sacred pattern of the hidden life. He was being overtaken by a kingly character that could only be forged in the dark. He had the promise, but he had to wait for the position. We see the start of this in 1 Samuel 16:13. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. The Spirit came from that day forward, but the throne was still decades away. If David had rushed the process, he would have become a man with a crown, but no internal foundation. By waiting, he allowed the season to do the work, ensuring that when he finally stepped into his calling, he did so with a strength that could never be shaken. Chapter 2. The Prison of Preparation. There is a specific kind of pain found in being forgotten. Joseph knew this weight better than most. Sold by his brothers, falsely accused by his master, and finally cast into a lightless Egyptian dungeon, Joseph found himself in the ultimate waiting room. He had helped others and shown impeccable character, yet he remained in chains. There is a haunting line in the record of his life that marks the transition into a deeper level of patience. In Genesis 41:1, the text says, "And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years." 2 full years of silence after Joseph thought his rescue was at hand. This was not wasted time. It was the final structural renovation of a leader. In those 2 years, Joseph was being tactically placed by the divine path. He was being seasoned for the weight of a nation's survival. When the overtake finally happened, it didn't happen in increments. It wasn't a slow promotion. It was a supernatural leap from the prison floor to the second chariot of Egypt in a single day. Joseph overtook everyone who had once looked down on him, not because he ran faster, but because he waited with purpose. Chapter 3. The Strength of the Still. Our modern world treats waiting like a stagnant pond, but the sacred pattern reveals it is actually a charging station. When we are forced to be still, our spirit begins to pull from a source that the frantic world cannot access. This is the secret velocity. While others are burning out, chasing the horizon on their own strength, the one who waits is undergoing an internal renewal. We find this promise in the soaring words of Isaiah 40:31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Notice the progression. Waiting leads to a renewal. It is a fundamental change in your spiritual engine. You aren't just getting back your old energy. You are receiving a capacity to rise above the storms that ground everyone else. To walk the divine path is to understand that your period of stillness is actually your greatest advantage. You are allowing your heart to catch up with the wisdom of the ages, ensuring that when you finally run, you will never grow weary. Chapter 4. The Law of the Harvest. Nature itself is a testament to the fact that you cannot rush a masterpiece. A farmer understands that after the seed is in the ground, his primary job is to wait. He cannot scream at the soil to move faster. He cannot dig up the seed every hour to check for growth without killing the very thing he desires. There is a fixed, sacred pattern to the harvest that requires a long patience. As it is written in James 5:7, Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. This long patience is the bridge between the promise and the overtake. If you try to force the harvest early, you get fruit that looks right, but is bitter to the taste. By respecting the timeline of the Creator, you ensure that your harvest is precious and enduring. Your neighbors might be showing off their quick, shallow successes, but your patience is producing a deep-rooted stability that will outlast every temporary trend. Chapter 5. The Impossible Leap. We have arrived at the moment of the overtake. This is where the physics of the world are suspended and the logic of the divine path takes over. There is an appointed time for every vision, a moment where the wait turns into a weight of glory. You have stood still while others ran. You have prayed while others panicked. You have deepened your roots while others spent their energy on the surface. As noted in Habakkuk 2:3, For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. This is the great overtake. When the appointed time arrives, you will find that you have bypassed years of human striving in a single moment of divine favor. The velocity you gathered in the silence will catapult you past those who started before you, because you are no longer running on your own strength. You are being carried by the momentum of the sacred pattern. Conclusion. Here is the final truth for your journey. Waiting was never about the delay. It was about the structural renovation of your soul. While you were waiting, the Creator was not just moving you. He was moving the world around you. He was preparing the throne, the office, and the opportunity so that when you arrived, you wouldn't have to fight for it. In Psalm 27:14, we find the anchor for our peace. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. The overtake is not a race you have to win. It is a destiny you have already inherited by simply staying on the path. The world may call you slow, but the Spirit knows you are arriving exactly on time. If this reflection on the strength of the still has brought you peace, I invite you to join our community of seekers. Subscribe to Timeless Audio Reads to ensure your internal fortress remains guarded and your spirit stays aligned with the divine path. A simple like on this video acts as a beacon, helping this message of purposeful patience reach another soul who may be struggling with the exhaustion of the race. In Lamentations 3:25, we are reminded, "The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him." Please share your own reflection in the comments below. Type "wait" and "overtake" if you are choosing to trust the timing of your life today. I read every word, and our community grows stronger when we share the wisdom gathered in the quiet places. Peace be with you, and until our next renovation of the Spirit, keep your heart with all diligence.